Good evening, race fans, and welcome to Rossboro, Ohio, at the famed Eldora Speedway. The stands are packed. The hill is starting to fill in here between turns 1 and 2 as we bring you tonight's action of the Ultimate Sim League here tonight, being brought to us tonight by JR Photography, and we got to thank them for stepping up the sponsoring the series tour here to Eldora. Last 6 weeks in the books, we've had 3 different winners, with Tyler Jackson going back-to-back looking for a three-peat here tonight. And let's take a look at the current standings before we get into tonight's racing action. Tyler Jackson has a 9-point lead over Brian Hacker. Hacker is sitting in your second spot, Reed Rundell. And car number 143 rounding out your top 3, David Konjerski and Jeff Steenbergen rounding out your top 5. Hot on the heels of the top 5 is Bud Reedner in car number 40 as he finished inside the podium 1 week ago, looking to improve on that here tonight at Eldora. And let's take a look at tonight's race information being brought to us by JR Photography. 90 degrees out there, 59% in the humidity with clear skies, 30-mile-an-hour winds here tonight at Eldora. It is a 0.4 of a mile here in Rossburg, Ohio. Like I said, we got to welcome y'all out here right now. Practice just starting to wind down. It's a little bit over 5 minutes. A lot of people here in Ohio, which is good to see as we get ready to go. But I can tell you, it all started back in the month of January. Hard to believe that the cross flags are out in February already. And the winningest driver in February has been the number 8 of Tyler Jackson. He has won the last 2 weeks at Williams Grove, then the trip up to the upstate New York area, the Weedsport Speedway. And now we head out to out the Ohio area. I would call that Central America, maybe a little bit to the east of Central America. But we are here for what is going to be a great night of racing. Before we get too far away, though, they have asked everybody to stand up. We're going to play the Star Spangled Banner to honor this great country that we live in with the playing of the national anthem. We'll be right back here on the Turn 3 Racing Network. You're watching the Ultimate Sim League here on the Turn 3 Racing Network. There we have it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages. Welcome here back to the Eldora Speedway practice starting to wrap up here as you are watching the Ultimate Sim League, the premier short track racing series on iRacing. Being brought to us by Ultimate Race Cars, ultimateracecars.com. They specialize in sport mods, modifieds, street stocks, legend setups, anything you need. Look them up, Ultimate Race Cars. They can get you headed in the right direction. You want to look good out on the racetrack, hit up Ski Graphics. They are the top of the line designer here on the iRacing service and the number 1 to go shop for the Ultimate Sim League. Ski Graphics. Look them up on Facebook and Instagram at Ski Graphics. And tonight's race is being brought to us by JR Photography. They help set us our cameras up each and every week as we get ready to come racing to bring you the live action of the Ultimate Sim League. So we welcome you all back to the racetrack as things are starting to wind down, just a little bit over 2 minutes left in practice. And I can tell you right now, the schedule is going to be wild. Coming up next week, we head to Volusia Speedway for the Skis Graphics night down at Volusia. That will wrap up the month of February. Then we have 5 weeks remaining for the remaining series races. It'll all kick off March 1st at Knoxville, followed by Limaland. Then we all head to Charlotte on March 15th, followed by Lernerville, and the season finale at the very fast USA Speedway. So a lot of good tracks coming up here as we get ready to go with the second half of the season after tonight. So it's hard to believe that February is already half over, and it's good to see you out there, Josiah. Hope you enjoyed tonight's show out on the YouTube. If you're new to the YouTube side of things for the Turn 3 Racing Network and you're here to watch the Ultimate Sim League, hit that subscribe button and hit that thumbs up. Let these drivers know that you appreciate their efforts that they put on for you each week here on a Monday night. And you can also get notifications every time that they go live on Monday nights through the month of March here. We're going to have racing from the dirt tracks to the high banks of Daytona and everything in between here on the Turn 3 Racing Network. We're your one-stop shop for everything sim racing. So make sure you subscribe and hit the thumbs up. You're on the Facebook side of things. Hit that thumbs up if you see your favorite driver out there doing things that you like to see them do. Hit the thumbs up or share this broadcast here tonight so that way they know that you appreciate what they do for you. Once again, we got to welcome you out to Eldora. My name is The Boss Man. I'm Al Smith here from the Turn 3 Racing Network. As we get ready to bring you tonight's action, we're going to have, I believe, 3 heat races of action. There'll be 8 laps in distance. Everybody will make the show. The top 6 cars will get inverted. So out of those, if you finish inside the top 2, you will make the redraw here tonight. Then we'll move in to our 40-lap main event, which will take place after our qualification is all done. We have 18 drivers signed in here tonight, so we will get ready to go. As heat race number 1 getting ready to get gridded up here. Track crew went out, did some work. You see the flags waving there on the front stretch. Very, very fast, 30-mile-an-hour gust here tonight. We'll have to see if that will cause any havoc here tonight in the Ultimate Sim League. So the pace car getting the pace truck there, the Chevy Silverado, and this is the starting lineup for heat race number 1. Heat race number 1 is going to see the number 99 of Brandon Hall. He'll start on the inside of row number 1. Here's your pole sitter. Outside of him will be the 33 of Gary Pizan. Bud Reedner in car number 40 finished 3rd 1 week ago at Weedsport. He'll start in the 3rd spot. Outside of him will be the 37. That is Zachary Loomis. Loomis in car number 37. Reed Rundell, he sits 3rd in the championship standings. He'll start 5th. And our current points leader, the number 8, that is Tyler Jackson, as he is our current points leader as the field works around there. Tyler Jackson going to have to start shotgun on the field here tonight. That is our 6th car. Heat race number 1. I believe we will have 3 heat races here with 18 cars signed in to do battle. Put on a great show for you here tonight. The Ultimate Sim League said, let's go. And they said, this is going to be an Eldora show that you have not seen before. They have done a little bit of work in the gearing to keep the cars off of the wall. They allow some passing and some great side-by-side racing here tonight. We're going to see if that will hold true as the pace truck paces in the turn number 3. We're going to go green flag racing for the first time here tonight off of turn number 4. Green flag is up, and we are underway with heat race number 1. And it will be Brandon Hall jumping out to your early race lead in car number 99. Before your Arena runs there in your number 2 spot. They work down the back stretch. 3 wide. Pizon's out of shape. Almost collects your point leader to 8. automobile of Tyler Jackson. Tyler Jackson started 6 all the way up to your 4th spot. Meanwhile, things up front here, it is the number 99. Of Brandon Hall. Hall showing the way. The 40 of Riedner right there close in tow. This time by there'll be 2 laps in. There'll be 6 laps to go as they work down the front stretch. Brandon Hall showing the way. Riedner going to take the dive down to the inside, though. He'll take the low side off of turn number 2. Gets a little bit sideways. Hall keeping the outside momentum. Side by side for your race lead off of turn number 4. Down the front stretch they will come. It'll be Hall with the line showing the way by just a half a car. Reed Rendell and Cadeau Buddies 143 trying to close in as well. This is a great battle for your number 2 spot. Hull works the outside. Riedner with the JR Photography entry down on the inside. They'll come off of turn number at the line. Hull will lead it as the cross flags are shown. 4 laps are in, 4 laps to go. Riedner now with the 40 out in front. Here comes Hull back to the outside. Contact off of turn number 2. Down the backstretch, still door to door in the turn number 3. Well, they race it out. Here comes the 143 of Rondell. He knows he's got to get inside the top 2 to get into the redraw here tonight. Can he make it happen? Hull works the outside, gets the right rear eating the cushion off of turn number 2. He'll take the race lead back down in the turn number 3. 3 wide for your race lead is the 143. It's going to get into the left rear. Riedner. Around will go the 40 of Bud Riedner, who is running second. He gets pointed back in the right direction. Now Reed Rundell will go for a ride. Tyler Jackson involved in that one as well. Saw it happen into the 143 of, we'll take a look back here as the white flag is out, as that will give your race lead to Brandon Hall. And Zachary Loomis now, the 37 automobile, moves into your number 2 spot. Down the back stretch they will go for the final time in the turn number 3. Oh, high, wide, and handsome, ripping the lip. Checkered flag is up, and he will pick up the win. Hull will pick up the win. Loomis will finish second. Third to Gary Pizon. Bud Riedner will come home in your 4th spot, followed by Reed Rundell and Tyler Jackson. So your points leader, the 2 of the drivers in the side of the points, having rough heat races here. In heat race number 1, let's take a look back here and see what happened. So we are not going to be able to take a look back there and see what happened, but it was a rough go of it right there. Is now heat race number 2 sitting ready to line up on the infield. And this is your heat race number 2 starting grid. Starting on the inside of road number 1 of Huntley, Illinois, is the number 11 of Brian Hacker. Starting to his outside, the driver out of Menowee Falls, Wisconsin. That is Chris Johnson in the beautifully prepared number 112. To Johnson in car number 112, starting on the outside of the front row. Starting in row number 2 will be car number 86. That is Kevin Knutson. Knutson in car number 86. Outside of him will be the number 118. That is Brian Gundrum. Gundrum was unable to make the tow to Weedsport last week. Had to miss it. But he is out here tonight, ready to put on a show for you. Kurt Clevin in car number 302. He'll start in the number 5 spot in shotgun on the field. The car number 51. That is Jared Apple. Jared Apple in car number 51. A beautifully chromed car. Wonder if it'll look that good at the end of this heat race. Heat race number 2 coming at you. 6 cars ready to do battle. We're going to put on a show for you in heat race number 2 on JR Photography Night. Hope you have your cameras ready. I know JR Photography does. Pace truck down and away. The race cars working through turns 3 and 4. Brian Hacker's going to step on the loud pedal first. Green flag is out and heat race number 2 is underway. 8 laps is the distance. Hacker going to jump out to your race lead. He saw that his championship rivals had some issues in heat race number 1. Looking to capitalize on this and get a good starting spot here tonight for the 40-lap main event. 2 by 2 by 2. They will work off to number 4. Lap 1 going into the books. And it'll be Brian Hacker picking up that lap. Chris Johnson runs in your number 2 spot as the 118 of Gundrum. Who's working the outside? And here comes Apple. April in car number 1, the 51 automobile. He's working to the backside of Knutson. Johnson down to the inside, trying to make a run at Brian Hacker. He'll step it sideways, and that allows Gundrum to work to his outside down here in the turn number 1. Off of turn number 2, they will come side by side down the back stretch. It is the number 118 of Gundrum on the outside, Johnson on the inside. They're all chasing the 11 of Brian Hacker. 3 laps are in so far, clean and green so far in heat race number 2. They are leaning on each other as they come off of turn number 2 down the backstretch. They will come. Eldora, one of the most technical racetracks to be fast at, and it is hard to be fast. You might not think so with all the banking that they have on the racetrack, but it is one of the toughest tracks. Yeah, we call it the super speedway of dirt tracks for the current moment. Gundrum is now taking away that number 2 spot with his Andy's Frozen Custard. Number 118. Johnson trying to motor back in, but here comes the 86 of Knutson. He's trying to work the bottom of the racetrack, and the 51 of Apple working the bottom. Down the backstretch, they will come into your living room. Oh, contact! 112 of Johnson gets sideways. They're going to be 3 wide off a turn. Knutson gets turned sideways. 2 laps to go for in heat race number 2. The action hot and heavy back here. Meanwhile, Gundrum starting to track down your race leader. Clevin in car number 302 is now worked past the number 51 of Jappel. That is Jared Apple in car number 51. First start here tonight, I believe, with us. He rides back there in the 6th spot after having some contact. But final trip down the backstretch. Brian Hacker looking to pick up the heat race win to guarantee himself a top 6 starting spot here tonight. Off of turn number 4, they will come. Checkered flag is up. Hacker will pick up the win. Gundrum will finish second. Johnson, Knutson, Clevin, and Apple. Apple and car number 51 will round out your 6-car field there. That's a tongue twister. You say that 10 times fast. That'll do it to you. Heat race number 3, getting ready to come out onto the racetrack there. We'll get it straight one of these days. But heat race number 3 coming at you, and this is your starting lineup. The driver out of Texas, he drove all the way up here out of Kylene, Texas. This is the 15. That is David Kinjerski. Kinjerski on the pole. Outside of him will be the number 34. That is Maxwell Schultz. Schultz in car number 34. Jason Sealings in car number 70. He'll start on the inside of row number 2. Outside of him, the 75. That is James Fletcher. Fletcher in car number 75. Chuck Scher, the driver out of the 57 out of Ingleside, Illinois, will start 5th and shotgun on the field. The driver out of Johnson Creek, Wisconsin, the Ultimate Race Car sponsored. Number 62. This is Jeff Steenbergen. Steenbergen in car number 62, shotgun in the field. Here, heat race number 3 coming at you. Who's it going to be? Well, we are about to find out as we go racing here, as we go on board looking at the driver of David Kinjerski. He works in the turn number 3. The pace car is going to be down and away. And we are going to be underway with our final qualifier of the evening. Green flag is up, and we are underway in heat race number 3. Kinjerski down to the inside. Schultz up the racetrack with a little bit of a push. That's going to open the door for the Napa automobile of 75 of Fletcher. Fletcher don't make contact, and they back out of it. Everybody keeps it pointed in the right direction. Lap number 1 going to go in the books, and it's going to be the 15 of Kinjerski. He'll pick up that is Steenbergen, not wasting any time to go from last up to your number 2 spot. He's inside the redraw right now, but the 70 of Schillings has something to say about that as they work down here in the turn number 4. Side by side for your 2nd spot. 2 grooves of racing opening up here in the 3rd and final heat race. Kinjerski leading the way, but he's got Steenbergen in his back pocket. Steenbergen can go to the high side, tries to diamond off the corner. He'll get a little bit sideways off of turn number 2. I don't think you could have fit a piece of paper between those two race cars as they work through 1, 3, and 4. Down the front stretch they come. It'll be a side-by-side battle. Contact that time is now Steenbergen got to run to the inside. Contact with the 15 of Konjerski. He'll jump the cushion. That opens the door for the 62 of Steenbergen. Fletcher says, I want a piece of this. We're going to go 3 wide in the turn number 4. They'll settle it side by side, but Fletcher going to go from the outside to the inside. He'll make it 3 wide down the front stretch with the Steenbergen in the middle of the sandwich. 15 of Konjerski working the outside of the racetrack. High, wide, and handsome. He'll rip the lip. Here comes the 70 of Schillings. It's a 4 wide battle. They are in formation just like the Thunderbirds. So work off of turn number 4. Sharon car 57. He says, I want to make this a 5-car battle as Schultz rounds out your field in the 6th spot. Good battle for your race lead. Oh, Konjerski is going to kiss the outside wall. That allows the number 75 of Fletcher to get by. As we go on board with the 15 of Konjerski. Works the outside of Fletcher with a run down the backstretch. So Fletcher too strong on the bottom of the racetrack. He will hold on to that position. Come off of the corner. It will be the final lap. White Silk will fly. Can Steenbergen hold on to it? Started in the 6th position. Drove to the race lead and looking to pick up the Heat Race 3 win. He works down the backstretch. Final trip, 2 turns, 3 and 4. Schillings up the racetrack. Here comes Scheer, but it'll be Steenbergen picking up the win. Fletcher will finish 2nd. Konjerski will come home 3rd. Schillings, Scheer, and Schultz. And that is how your 3rd and final heat race will line up here tonight. Track crew going back out, doing a little bit of work, and get ready to go for our 40-lap main event. And this is the starting lineup for tonight's main event. Starting up on the front row, as it was more than a 6-car invert. I had some bad notes here tonight. It looks like it was a 14-car invert here tonight. So this is your starting lineup. Starting on the inside of row number 1 on the pole will be the car number 143. That is Reed Rundell out of Michigan. Starting on the outside of him, the 70, that is Jason Schillings in car number 70. Kevin Knutson in car number 86 will start 3rd, with outside of him the 40 of Bud Riedner. David Konjerski and Chris Johnson will make up row number 3. Row number 4 is going to go to the number 33 of Gary Bizon and James Fletcher. 9th starting spot will be the number 118. That is Brian Gundrum. Gundrum in car number 118 out of Slinger, Wisconsin. His dancing partner in row number 5, excuse me. That is spot number 10, the 37 of Zachary Loomis, the driver out of New York. Jeff Steenbergen, we just saw him pick up the heat race win in heat race number 3. He will start 11th here tonight in car number 62. His outside, the driver out of Huntley, Illinois with the Carbon Junction Smith Racing Inc. entry. That is the 11 Illinois of Brian Hacker. Starting in the 13th starting spot will be Brandon Hall. 14th will go to the 302 of Kurt Clevin. Chuck Scheer, Tyler Jackson, Jared Apel, and the 34 of Maxwell Schultz. That is your starting field. Green flag is going to come up, and we are underway with our feature event. Schillings jumps out to the early race lead over the 86 of Knutson. Here comes Bud Riedner as they fan down the backstretch. They're going to go 3 wide. Deep in the field here. Let's go high above with our JR photography. You see the all working around the racetrack. 3, 4 wide. So they work down in the turn number 1. Everybody on the move right now, and it is Kurt Clevin in that 302. He's up 4 positions as he's chasing the 11 of Brian Hacker. Hacker started in the 12th position, finds himself in 8th. He'll work underneath the 37 of Loomis. Off of turn number 4. In the turn number 1, they're all chasing the number 70 of Schillings. Schillings showing the way over Riedner. as Riedner does side-by-side battling with the 86 of Knutson. Chris Johnson in the 112, he wants to come up and play with this as we take a ride on the backside, looking backwards at the field as we ride on board with Jason Schillings out of Greendale, Wisconsin. Everybody still side by side. Up on the front of this one, it is single filed out as your race leader. He's the only one not doing battle. He is opening up some ground as the field works through turns 1 and 2. Riedner with a run to the outside. He'll hold off the 86 of Knutson, and Brian Hacker working underneath the 118 of Gundrum now. That is the battle for your 7th, 8th, and 9th spot. Hacker right down on the bottom. Gundrum working the outside of the racetrack. Great battles all the way through here. Gary Pizon back here in your 18th position. He had a little bit of sideways action there just a moment ago, and he has lost some ground. Already putting 6 laps into the books, working lap number 7 as it's all been the 70 of Schillings. Schillings was fast early on last week at the Weedsport Speedway. We've got him 3 wide, make it 4 wide down the backstretch. Chris Johnson on the outside of Konjarski. He'll go way up the racetrack as Konjarski makes contact with Fletcher. They're going to come 3 wide once again. Loomis is a little bit sideways off of turn number 4. Battling is hot and heavy back here in the back of the pack. Brandon Holt's going to get shot around as now they're going to be 4 wide down the backstretch. In the turn number 3, Brian Hacker trying to make some room. Here comes Tyler Jackson. Those are your top 2 drivers in the championship standings here tonight as they work down the front stretch. Apel in car number 51 did a little bit of wall climbing that time down the front stretch. Everybody's keeping it pointed in the right direction. Tyler Jackson had to start shotgun virtue of his win 1 week ago at the Weedsport Speedway. Trying to make his way up through the field. Loomis down the, contact as Loomis is going to go around. Reed Rundell goes around. And the yellow flag will come out for the contact in turn number 1. We were on it live. Your 3rd place points getter, the 143 of Rundell. Heavy front end damage to that automobile. As this will re-rack the field. Josiah Millen has picked the 11 of Brian Hacker to come out on top of this one. He fell back to 10th there with a little bit of action. Let's see what happened to Zachary Loomis to get sideways as they work down the front stretch. See him working underneath the 8 of Tyler Jackson. Gets down in the corner. Jared Apel comes right in and he just gets into the left rear quarter panel. Around they will go. Let's take a different look at it here as they work down the front stretch. See, go in the corner. Apel just not able to keep the car down. The 143 of Rundell, nowhere to go. Innocent bystander in that. As he will get pointed back in the right direction as we should be getting close to going back to a restart here in our feature event. 10 laps are going to be on the board. We'll have 30 laps to go when the pace truck pulls in this time in turn number 4. Jason Schillings has led since the green flag has dropped. Used the outside start to take that lead away. Now, he's got Bud Riedner to his outside here as the field paces through turns 3 and 4 for the final time before the green flag will come back out. Pace car down and away. We are back underway. Good jump for the 70th Schillings. Riedner able to shake the 86 of Knutson. Knutson down to the inside. He's going to battle now with the 15 of David Konjarski. Konjarski works the outside of the racetrack to crack the top 3. A little bit deeper in the field, it'll be the 112 of Chris Johnson. See him there just in the back of the shot there. Konjarski hard in the outside retaining wall. Keeps it pointed in the right direction, but he'll lose some ground to the 86 of Knutson. Johnson gets a little bit sideways. That causes Fletcher to check up as they work down here in the turn number 3. Big for your race lead up on the front of this one. Bud Reedner down to the inside of Jason Schillings. Schillings working the outside, puts the right rear into the cushion, letting it eat, and he'll hold on to that race lead down the backstretch. Schillings showing the way now. Reedner trying to draw a bead to the back bumper, trying to pick up the first win of the season, or second win of the season for Reedner. Schillings crosses him up off turn number 2, down the backstretch. Reedner takes a peek to the inside, can't quite do it. Meanwhile, Tyler Jackson, yellow flag coming out once again. Yellow, yellow, yellow. And I believe it is coming out for the 34 of Maxwell Schultz. So yellow flag slowing us down for the second time here tonight at the Eldora Speedway. Let's take a look and see what happened to Maxwell to see what happened. They put us underneath our second yellow flag of the evening. See, Schultz down to the inside, Jared Apel on the outside. Schultz goes down to the and washes up. Oh, and Apel just nowhere to go with the 34 of Schultz washing up the racetrack. Let's take another look here at this one. We go on board with Apel. Yeah, see the 34, he saw him coming and trying to get out of the way and just could not do it. And heavy left front damage on that automobile. As we come back live here. Apel did come down pit road, did pull out some fenders, trying to clear some tires, make sure there will not be any cut tires here as the lights go out behind the pace car. Looks like we might have a single file restart. Chevy Silverado is going to get off of the racetrack like it should. Schillings leading the field off of turn number 4. Single file restart coming at you. Green flag is up. We are back underway. Working lap number 15 down the backstretch. We'll have 25 to go. As now Reedner tries to work the outside, gets to run to the inside. He's starting to see that bottom line, starting to get a little bit of a shine to it. That means that it is starting to get a little bit used up down there. Brian Hacker runs here back in the 12th position, trying to find some run room. Brandon Holt right in front of him as they chase down your race lead pack. Tyler Jackson taking a bit to the inside underneath Steenberg, and he'll swing it to the outside. Now cuts it down low. Tyler Jackson trying to make his way from the back of the field. Started 18th on the grid, virtue of his win last week. League rule here for the Ultimate Sim League is if you win the prior week before, you have to start tail in this week's feature, regardless of how qualifying goes for you. Jackson once again goes in high, cuts it down low. He's going to make it 3 wide down the backstretch. Can he make it stick on the inside? The Jax EDM, car number 8, working the bottom of the racetrack. Can he make it stick? He'll work underneath the 75 of Fletcher down the front stretch. Is he going to make it? He'll cut it down low. Everybody else ripping the lip right now. Is Jackson the only car on the bottom of the racetrack? In the pits, unable to get back out on the racetrack. Might have called it a quit for tonight. So a tough break for the driver of the 51. He'll be our first driver out with just 21 laps to go. Meanwhile, Schilling showing the way as he'll work off of turn number 2 and down the backstretch. Bud Reedner now to the inside. Reedner going to try to make a move. A lot of jostling for position out there right now as you see it from our JR Photography speed shot. Just how this track is evolving. Barney the flagman watching overhead. Here's now We go back here to the battle for your race lead. Reedner down to the inside. Schilling's ripping the lip, trying to keep that momentum built up. Your top two cars have broken away from the rest of the field. Schilling's up high. Now Reedner going to cut it down low, trying to get the momentum off of turn number 4. Can't quite do it this time. 18 to go. Meanwhile, 3 wide back here, David Konjerski trying to hold off the 118 of Brian Gundrum. And he's got the 112 of Johnson, the 62 of Steenbergen, and the 8 of Tyler Jackson all in tow. Bid for your race lead, and Schilling's going to be able to hold on to it. Schilling in car number 70. Both drivers work the outside as we go on board with Bud Reedner looking out the front on the ski graphics on board. Yellow, yellow, yellow as we go to that look. Let's take a look and see what has happened out on the racetrack. And I was talking about them. I cursed them again. It looks like possibly the number 112 of Chris Johnson involved. Truck says they have it. Let's take a look back and see what happened. Johnson battling with the 112 of Steenbergen. He'll work the inside there. Oh, just contact with the Steenbergen Ultimate Race Cars, number 62, and around will go the 112. Lucky did not get any other contact there, but slowed for the 3rd time here. Let's take another look and see if we can see what happens. We go on there with Jeff Steenbergen. You can see him working the inside and just slight contact. Maybe Johnson got a little bit loose there. Started to come back down the racetrack. I'm pretty sure that Steenbergen did not mean to do that. As we come back live here, just past the halfway point of our 40-lap main event. Been great racing all the way through the field. Reedner, every time he starts to get to the inside of that number 70, the yellow flag comes out. It's got to be beating that steering wheel, trying to figure out what he needs to do in order to make it happen. We'll have 16 laps to go when the green flag drops this time. Schilling, Reedner, Knudsen, Konjerski, Gundrum, your top 5. Green flag is coming. Green flag is a little bit of a restart game there. The 70 of Schilling's going to jump on the loud pedal. He'll dump the racing fuel down the carburetor. Everybody working the high side of the racetrack. Down the backstretch, they will come at you. Everybody's still single file. Now it'll be Reedner taking it to the bottom. And 3 and 4. He'll slide up, get into the moisture, trying to get a run on the 70 of Schilling. Can't quite do it that time. In the turn number 1 they come. Down the back stretch they will go. You see the Reedner trying to get a run down the banking to get some momentum built up. Schilling's working the outside of the racetrack the long way around the track, migrating up towards that white wall. That time Reedner was dead even with Schilling off of turn number 4. Couldn't quite make it stick. Tyler Jackson up to your 6th spot now came in as your points leader. He has beaten his championship rivals. The 11 of Brian Hacker runs in 11th spot. Is Reedner down drag race just by a bumper cap. Schilling holds on to your race lead. Jason Schilling up on the front of this one. The 40 of Reedner works down the back stretch. This is they battle it out. The 86 of Knudsen starting to come into this one. The 15 of Konjerski as well. Reedner almost slides him off of turn number 4. Oh, contact with the outside wall for Bud Reedner. That's going to impede his speed just a little bit. He'll lose about a half a car length down the backstretch. Reedner to the inside. Can he make it stick? Off of turn number 4 they will come. At the line, Schilling's going to lead it by just a bumper. Schilling working the outside of the racetrack up into the fluff, trying to find the grip. He will hold off Reedner one more time. Down in the turn number 3 they come. Reedner has found something down on the bottom of the racetrack. Can he make it stick this time off turn 4? He cannot. 10 laps to go. Barney the flagman gives him the high 5 times 2. 10 laps to go. And here comes Knudsen. talked to him before tonight's race event. He was looking forward to this one. Reeder now going to have to start paying attention to the backside here. Is now Kevin Knutson has caught him trying to make a move down the backstretch. Everybody single file until you get back deeper in the field. Now Reeder with a big move to the inside. He puts it out front for the time being, but off of turn number 4 at the line, it's going to be Schilling's. Schilling, 8 laps to go. He has let it to the green flag, has dropped, but he is feeling the pressure now. Kevin Knutson now with the run to the outside. Reeder stuck to the inside. Down in the turn number 3 they come. Knutson works the outside, trying to take away that number 2 spot from the 40 of Reeder. He's going to be able to do it. Contact off of turn number 2. Reeder down low, trying to slide it up. Knutson going to drive back around to the outside, side by side for second. This is what Jason Schilling wanted to see in his rearview mirror. 6 laps to go. That time Reeder going to slide up in front of the 86 of Knutson. This has brought David Kinjerski and that number 15 into the fray. Here comes the 8 of Tyler Jackson. He'll go in low, slide up to the top shelf. He'll take away the 5th spot. 6 cars underneath the blanket. Who is going to come out on top? 5 laps to go. Schilling out on the front of this one. Reeder now starting to take and regain his composure. The battle for 3rd is a good one. Kevin Knutson trying to hold off Kinjerski. Kinjerski down to the bottom of the racetrack. He'll slide up and try in front of Kevin Knutson. Heavy contact. That's going to check him up. Tyler Jackson's going to go to the inside of Knutson. Jackson not done here. He'll slide job in the turn number 4. Turn underneath them will be Kinjerski. That's the battle for 3rd. The final podium position up for grabs. 3 laps to go. Kinjerski trying to slide back to the inside of the 8 of Tyler Jackson. 3 wide down the backstretch. 1 car hard into the inside wall. That was the 302 of Clevin. Yellow flag going to come out with just 2 laps to go. This is not what Jason Schilling wanted to see, as he had gotten away almost to a second over Bud Reedner. As the 302 of Kurt Clevin. That thing looks like a UMP modified. Let's see what happened to bring out our 4th yellow flag of the evening. Clevin and Hacker there, nose to tail off the corner. Oh, Clevin got the outside wall, comes down, and Hacker just nowhere to go, it seems like. In the 302 of Clevin, hard contact with the inside wall. Let's go on board and watch the driver's hands as we go on board. See the dirt all over the front visor. Oh, never got out of it. Tried driving it out of it the whole way with the 302 of Clevin. So we'll come back live now. Believe it'll be a single final restart. 2 laps to go. It's going to be a shootout here tonight at the Eldora Speedway for the JR Photography 40-lap main event. We thought it was going to be a JR Photography photo finish, and it might be. Green flag in the hand will go off of turn number 4. Green flag is up and we're back underway. Down in the turn number 1 they come. Reeder going to go to the bottom off of turn number 4 down to 2 down the backstretch. They will come. Single file up on the front of this one. Reeder down low. He's going to throw it in deep on the bottom. Sliding up the racetrack. Not quite clear. It'll be 1 lap to go. Final trip around the speedway. Good bit for your race lead. Now The 70 is Schilling down to the inside. Overwash up. Here goes Reedner down to the inside. Down the backstretch, door to door, wheel to wheel into turn number 3. One last ditch effort. Reedner going to really throw it in. Slide job up the racetrack. Tyler Jackson involved. Who's going to be at the line? Drag racing. It's going to be Reedner. Bud Reedner by half a car over Jason Schillings. Tyler Jackson from last to third. Konjerski will finish fourth. How about James Fletcher in at number 75, rounding out your top 5. Johnson with a nice rebound. He'll come home 6th. Hall, Hacker 8th. Gundrum and Reed Rundell rounding out your top 10 here. Steer Field gets coming down the racetrack. What a great job. What a great finish as the 40 of Bud Reedner will pick up the win at the Eldora Speedway. Tyler Jackson will come home in your third spot as they are down here on the front stretch. And as they sit there, we will take a quick moment. We'll be right back after a quick word from iRacing.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was always fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos or danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all will be kept in the pits. Not to mention that with members in over 130 countries already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series and work your way up to one of 7 world championships, offering over $500,000 in prize money. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com.
And welcome back to the Eldora Speedway on JR Photography Night. We are down in Victory Lane with tonight's feature event winner. Didn't lead any laps until off of turn number 4, and Bud is very excited down here on the front stretch. And Bud, you led the last half of a football field here off of turn number 4. How'd you get it done here tonight?
Jason did a really good job running the thing, basically on the cushion. And anybody who knows the service knows that you got to be right tight to the wall when the track slicks off. And we did a little change with some gear and some track settings to try and fix that. And he parked the thing up on the cushion. It wasn't getting off, and I tried to run the slider line through 3 and 4. 1 and 2 on the bottom was pretty well gone, but I tried to run the slider line through 3 and 4 a ton, and I just couldn't make it happen. And getting into 1 on the last lap there, he kind of drove across the slick and kind of broke his momentum getting down the backstretch. And I turned and dropped the nose and got a good run down the backstretch and sailed her off into 3 and crossed my fingers, and we came out on top. So I feel like I gave him enough room coming to the line, but there was a little bit of contact made there. I do apologize about that. I feel like I gave him enough room anyway.
Well, this is your second feature event win. You won back in week number 2. Believe it or not, it was 1 month ago at the Cedar Lake Speedway, and it was on JR Photography Night. So I think maybe you need to talk to JR Photography and get them to sponsor the rest of the races here. You seem to win when it's their night.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll talk to the wife. She is JR Photography, so yeah, I'll take that. I guess I don't really keep track of the stats so much. I was just hoping that Tyler wasn't going to win again. I'm sick of seeing that 8 car in Victory Lane.
Well, you come home in the Victory Lane there. Great battle all the way through the night. And well, before we let you go here tonight, who makes it all possible for you so you can end up here in Victory Lane?
Oh, I gotta thank JR Photography, CS Graphics, Ultimate Race Cars, Ultimate Sim League, all the guys we race with, everybody that watches us on YouTube. Special shout to Sleeveless Bob Schneider. He takes snapshots of the races and puts them on the internet for us. So Hope Sleeveless Bob's watching, and we'll come back next week, try to do it from the tail.
Yeah, you're going to have to come from the tail. Next week, we head to Volusia down in Volusia County in Florida. How's that track looking forward? Have you down there? How's that track for you guys?
I don't know. I'm hot or cold on this. It seems like there's some that I'm okay, and there's some that I'm pretty terrible at. And it's pretty good mix of being decent and being terrible. So I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of Volusia, but it's on the schedule, so we'll have to just figure it out.
Well, congratulations on your win. That's tonight's feature event winner. That is Bud Riedner, and we'll slide down here just a little bit to the left, and we'll come to our second place finisher, Jason Schilling. And Jason, you put up a good battle there. You led every lap except off of turn number 4. Those yellow flags seem to be hurting you later in this event as the track changed.
Yeah, Bud ran a good race. I pushed in on the last corner because I was trying to block the slider because I knew it was coming, and I pushed, and he left enough room. I just couldn't get it done.
Track, we saw it start very narrow. The track crew went out before the feature event, and the track was seemed a little bit wet at the beginning of this feature event, but the track widened out and it started to go through that slick transition. How hard is it as you're out there? You're out front, you're leading, you know what's working for you because you were getting a little bit of pressure from Bud, but every time he would get to you, the yellow flag would come out. How hard is it to try to stay on top or in front of all the changes as you're going on, and then trying to still hold off the rest of the field? It's got to be pretty challenging as a driver.
Yeah, it is pretty challenging. Like Bud said, you got to run this cushion here once it slicks off. I mean, I did, and just brain fart at the last second going into 3.
Well, overall, a good night. You're going to come home in the podium here tonight. Second place, nothing to shake a stick at. I know you're a little bit disappointed, but there's a lot of people on the side of this race car that make it possible for you.
Yeah, Ski Graphics, Roscoff RV, LeMay Motorsports, J&A Auto Trim.
Well, congratulations on second. We'll see you next week in Florida as we go down hunting for gators at the Volusia Speedway.
Yep, can't wait. See you guys.
There you go. That's your second place finish here tonight. The driver of the number 70 out of Greendale, Wisconsin, that is Jason Schilling. And now we will slide down here to our third place driver. And Tyler, are you sure you're not lost? What are you doing in third here tonight?
One more lap would have helped a lot. Those two were all crossed up coming to the checkered, and to be honest with you, I really didn't even hear it was the white flag, or I really didn't know what lap it was when I looked up and saw the checkered. So one more lap, we would have been a little closer, but that's how it goes.
Yeah, you come into tonight winning the last 2 races. You're going for the 3-peat. You're going to come up just a few spots shy, but you had to start in the back of the field here tonight at Eldora. And talk about how challenging it is, especially at such a track that's so fast as Eldora is. It's kind of the super speedway of the dirt tracks here on the Ultimate Sim League Racing series.
Yeah, Bud and Jeff did a lot of work, I guess, over the weekend with gear ratio and weather and trying to make this thing not so one groove on the top. And it wasn't one groove on the top, till the very end. And it still kind of stayed one groove. I think it's just a product of these cars not having a lot of horsepower. So I was just kind of riding around and had a couple wrecks happen right in front of me. There at the end there, the slider line in 3 and 4 was working well. You had to have enough of a gap in front of the guy you were sliding. If they were 4 or 5 stacked up in front of you in single file, obviously you can't slide that.
Yeah, overall, good night to come home in the third spot. That last yellow flag, you were going for third, and then with the way the scoring is done, putting you back into the 4th spot. You did a great job getting around the number 15 of David Konjerski there to come home in the 3rd spot. So overall, not a bad night. You're going to extend your points, lead your championship rivals, both not able to get through the field as good as you could here tonight. They had a little bit of action that they were all involved with. But overall, coming into the second half of the season, Are you how focused are you? You head to Volusia, then we go to Knoxville. So we got two very technical, fast racetracks on the schedule in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, first I got to thank David. He lifted for me a couple times. I threw a pretty big slide job, and he lifted. And I think that on the white, or coming to the checkered, I think he tried to cross me up and got a hold of somebody. So I apologize to anybody that got involved in that. But yeah, as far as going to Volusia, it's my least favorite track on the service. I don't know what it is about that place. I just can't get around it, and the Gators always seem to be tougher than the Shark there.
Well, it'll be a great battle as we head to Volusia. But before we let you roll on out of Eldora here tonight, who makes it all possible for you and your race team?
Got to thank the girlfriend as always. Put a lot of time in. Think I'm racing 4 nights a week right now, and I always told myself I'd never get that carried away with this stuff, but I guess I'm too competitive of a person. Thanks to Jeff and Bud for putting the league on. I have a blast. All these guys, it's a clean race tonight, and you for the broadcast. I can't wait to go back and watch it.
Well, thank you very much. It was a great show here tonight as you come home in the 3rd spot. We'll see you next week at Volusia. That's tonight's 3rd place finisher, the driver out of Rockford, Illinois, the number 8 of Tyler Jackson. So that'll be our post-race show being brought to us tonight by JR Photography as we are here at the JR Photography Night in Eldora Speedway. Next week we head to Eldora. So it'll be an exciting feature next week once again. But man, the points race starting to tighten up a little bit now as we take a look at the current unofficial point standings. After tonight, Tyler Jackson has stretched it to a 14-point lead over Brian Hackler. Reed Rundell is still 3rd. Bud Reedner's going to overstep the number 62 of Jeff Steenbergen inside the top 5 in points. A lot of movers and shakers in the points here tonight. Chris Johnson up 2 spots. Brandon Hull. Gary Pizon's going to take a tumble in the standings as he will fall to the 10th spot here after the Eldora race being brought to us tonight by JR Photography. It's been a great race, but before we let you go, let's take a look at the full field rundown here tonight of your 18 starters. Bud Reedner's going to pick up the win in the closest margin of victory this season over Jason Schilling in car number 70. Tyler Jackson, David Konjerski, James Fletcher, and Chris Johnson. Brandon Hull, Brian Hacker will come home 8th. Reed Rundell 9th. Brian Gundrum will come home in the 10th spot. One spot outside of the top 10, it will be the 37 of Zachary Loomis, the driver out of New York. Then it's Jeff Steenbergen in car number 62, Chuck Scher, Maxwell Schultz, Gary Pizon, Kurt Clevin, and the 86 of Kevin Knutson. Then rounding out the field, unfortunate, not unable to finish here tonight, that's the number 51 of Jared Apel. Apel in car number 51. That's your 18-car starting field as we look forward to next week's racing down at the Volusia Speedway. It will be an exciting night of racing once again next Monday night, and that is how we will wave the checkered flag in the month of February. Who's going to pick up the win? We will find out in 1 week's time, but as always, you've been watching the Ultimate Sim League, the premier short track racing series on iRacing, and is brought to you by Ultimate Race Cars, Ski Graphics, and JR Photography. On behalf of everybody here at the Turn 3 Racing Network and on behalf of the Ultimate Sim League, we thank you for watching tonight's action. We will see you in 1 week's time at the Volusia Speedway. We will see you. Remember, keep the racing on the racetrack and stay safe.